Let me go to Arindam. Arindam, how can you? I am told that you are supporting these cut-off marks. How could you? These cut-off marks will psych students. A whole generation will be psyched.
That's not correct. What I am trying to say is the market demand supply fixes the cut-off. And if 96% is the cutoff for commerce, traditionally 3-4% more has been the science cutoff, and that's how it has been done. What I'm absolutely against is this doesn't. It's not a problem about SRC. It's about the entire education system. It's a blot on our entire education system, and it talks about our country's education system that is thriving on elitist institutions with limited seats. And you can imagine 5 lakh aspirants, 40,000 seats in DU, just about 4-5,000 in commerce, and think of the commerce student.
I have a question for you, Arindam. I have a question for you.
Who doesn't really get a chance to get into sciences, and the entire system is such that the science student, is lopsidedly getting a chance to get into every stream. You look at the IIMs, which management, you've got entire science stream sitting out there. You don't see that in Harvard. You go to a Harvard, you've got a law, a political science, and English honors graduate sitting inside an MBA classroom. That's not the case out there. But this science student who joins SRCC right now is an IIT aspirant who has not gone through there. He joins, takes the seat, and then 1 year later, because he can give 2 more exams, 2 years later he leaves the college.
I want to go to Lata Vaidyanathan now.
SRCC principal has not been able to explain his stance properly. It's a demand-supply situation. In that situation, they have made that kind of
Palasha will come to you. Palash,
okay. In India, the government seriously now needs to look into making education available, quality education available, which is so easy. Why should it be that only SRCC has got quality education, and that's the kind of aura that we keep building? Education should be something that every other
there are two problems.
Be able to give.
There are two problems, Arindam,
and therefore we should have from every college in times to come students coming out.
One second. Let me get all voices in. I have a question for Arindam. Now here's a case study, Arindam. There is a student in Uttar Pradesh or in Assam or in West Bengal or Karnataka. Say these 4 states, there are many other states where getting 85 to 90% is considered a feat. And there are some places where in your late 80s you can be a topper. Now suppose there is a topper from that state board who did not have the money to go to anything else but a government funded state board school, right? That person has topped his state, but his percentage is somewhere in the late 80s or maybe touching 90, not even that. That person will not be considered even for, I would say any of the worse off relatively South Campus colleges of Delhi, right? Now I'm not even talking of Stephenson, Hindu and SRCC. I'm talking only of Delhi. And that person does not have the money to get into your institute, Arindam, because you're going to charge a lot of money for people to get into IIPM. So that section, this student I'm talking about, is a large section of this country, not extremely affluent. Can't forget IB, they cannot get into IIPM. Forget going abroad, they can't get in, they can't pay their way into IIPM even if they get through an entrance exam. What happens to that whole vast swathe of India that we've eliminated?
Absolutely. Arnab, this is the biggest problem with the Indian education system. I actually don't have a problem with SRCC because it's rightly said, it's demand supply, and you can have a common entrance test. Tomorrow the cutoff of an institute with just 90 seats or 400 seats will keep increasing with more people demanding, and one day it will again touch 100. So that's not the issue. The issue is every year and every 5 years, why aren't seats doubling? Why isn't the government bringing quality educational institutes into every state and every city? And why isn't there a comprehensive education policy where we decide that, well, this is going to be the 80-85% students coming out from Karnataka, West Bengal and everywhere who all deserve good education, and we need to cater to their needs, and government needs to bring in many more institutions.
You ask the government
regularly.
You ask the government, Arindam, 1 minute, Arindam.
SRCC is said to be Asia's best college, somebody just said.
But Arindam.
But, if you look at the teaching staff, they're already tight and not necessarily the best quality. Now, how do you increase the number of
there
teachers?
are only two things that go up every year.
Training, quality institutions.
There are only...
So, we don't have a comprehensive education policy in this country which is focused on all in solving the entire country's education problems. And then we also are, creating all possible hurdles towards privatization of education
Arindam, one minute.
The ministry needs to sit down and decide, do I want to give good educational opportunities to all good talent? Somebody who's reading India Unbound, somebody who's reading Freakonomics, somebody who's an intellectual debater, he must get a chance to get not into SRCC, but into MRCC, TRCC, PRCC or SRCC with 5,000 seats.
I see, Arindam,
why should SRCC
there are only two things which go up every year.
30 goddamn years. Why shouldn't it have a 60, 10,
now here's Lokesh.
With 50 times more students?
Okay, Lokesh, one minute.
We are not innovative. Nobody has a policy. Nobody has a direction. There is no national focus on taking education to the masses.
May I please, Arindam?